Good morning and welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours with me, Dr Audrey Tang. In today's show, we are going to take a look at workplace relationships, and we have sex therapist Madina Demirbas to help us out with this very important topic. Workplace relationships are an interesting band of issues, I guess, because the workplace is one of those places where we do meet people, where we have the same interests, where we might care about the same things, where we go through the same experiences. However, they can be a real HR issue. So let's head over to the main studio. Madina, welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. Again, we love having you on this show.
Thank you. It's a privilege and honor to be here again. Thank you.
Even more special today, we even have a studio audience, so we're very excited. Now, let's just dive straight in. Relationships in work, are they ever a good idea?
That's a very good question. Good for whom? Right?
Good point.
And what type of relationships? Because some of them, let's say there are three major types. The utilitarian ones, which are aimed actually at promoting yourself, so using your power or using your relationship to promote yourself. Then we have passionate ones, which are more romantic, and all this where people would be emotionally engaged and would be mostly just for the sake of the emotions. They're considered to be lower risk. And then we have the companion ones, where people develop their feelings, their romance gradually, and that considered to be not just low risk, but actually beneficial for the companies to strengthen the relationships between those two people and in general the environment in the whole team.
Yes, I think there can be so many benefits, because also, if you're working all the time, where are you supposed to meet people?
Exactly. So that's why
that's a very good point.
Yeah, 40% of people reported having a romance, not necessarily an affair.
No.
Yeah, which we will talk about later.
We will.
Yeah,
indeed.
But romance at their workplace at some point of their lives.
Yeah.
So it's not whether it is good or bad, it's whether it's real or not, and the answer is it is real.
Yeah. No, it's
and especially now, I wanted to point out, with more of hybrid work and distance work, now we have digital romances as well happening, and that makes it much harder for the HR to enforce the policies.
Of course, because you can keep that very secret, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Not one I'd considered. So talking about HR, sometimes HR do impose rules about workplace relationships, and it can be helpful because you know where the boundaries are, and it also means you can establish whether you are in a relationship kind of early on.
True.
But what if there's no boundaries set by HR? How do you make sure that things aren't clouded by power struggles, maybe?
I'm afraid there will be power struggles anyways, whether you have, whether people have relationship or not. But anyways, I think the first thing is that the transparency probably is the key. Like becoming open about it. If the HR mostly it takes one mishandled relationship for a company to then produce some kind of policy. But when it already happened, it's always a good idea to like renew the policies, but also to think about the exit strategy. I think rather than focusing on the now, it's job of HR and the people involved to think what it's not a pessimistic story. It's really asking people what happens if it ends, how it's going to affect you. Would you like to be transferred to another department, or would you be able to keep it professional and so on?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I know people get scared about that kind of thing, but that's just like having insurance.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're,
with all due respect to feelings, we're here to make money. Sorry. And we want to make sure that everybody's productive, everybody's, enjoying at the end of the day. That's a capitalistic reality.
Yeah, no, spot on. So let's get into, this is probably more in line with the work that you do day to day as a counsellor. Why do we find ourselves attracted to co-workers? Because, I mean, for me, I know in teaching, there's a real intensity and you go through that same stress and they understand it, and that can be quite, I guess, in a way, attractive but also reassuring.
There are many reasons to it, obviously, but for me, the first thing that comes to mind is proximity theory, which says that the more we come into contact with people at workplace or physically, the more closer we are physically to them, like our neighbors and so on, the more we're likely to form friendships, relationship, and hatred as well. But mostly it's about friendship, even if people have very different personalities. So that could be like a normal, natural state of things that people get attracted to each other. Second thing is, I believe that we are much better at work than we are at home.
That is true. We dress up, don't we?
We dress up.
Yes.
We behave better because there are
Yes.
certain policies which you don't necessarily have at the household, right? And we get paid. So of course we are motivated and so on. Hopefully we are. So and because things at work are clearer. Not necessarily. It's like everybody knows, okay, my job is this and that. Now with current, developments of family dynamics and so on, there's a lot of arguments around household work. Do I do the dishes? No, you do the dishes. I don't know, why is that? And whereas at work it's very clear. You do the dishes, I do the cleaning up, or I collect. Everybody gets paid for it, and so on. Ideally, obviously.
No. I think you're right, because also you can then become very good at that bit of the job.
Yeah,
that's quite attractive when someone's doing their job well.
They're in their element because we one of the recipes that I give for couples who are sort of losing their spice is to watch their partner in their element, right? When they're like calling or singing or dancing, something that they really enjoy. Now, at home, we don't necessarily are at our element.
It's true.
Unless it's a really rare case. Unless we're masochistic and we like actually doing all this work and everything. But mostly so it's a routine stuff, whereas at work we get to hopefully get a chance to thrive. So missing out this element, that's why workplace relationships and romance are happening, because we're able to observe this sparkling.
Yes, seeing you at your best. Oh,
yeah,
I like that.
And during daytime as well. Come on, like all of us are much more energetic than after work.
That's really true. That's really true.
So much more to it than we might think.
Yeah. It's for better or for worse. It's happening, and especially with this remote works as well. We get even more Instagrammed version of a person.
That's true.
Because we don't even see them. If we're attracted to a certain image, and that's what usually happens in the beginning of any romance, that you don't see them for who they are, you see them as a projection of who you think they are. And the screen makes it easier to fall in love with an image rather than with a person that you created in your mind.
Love it.
Wow. Yeah, there's an awful lot more to it. Is a workplace spouse ever a good idea? Depends on, it can be. Some people, well, if it's a replacement of a real, marriage that the person currently has. Is it an enhancement? Maybe it helps. Maybe this is the only way if a person doesn't have any other relationship. Maybe a spouse at work is the only possible relationship for this person, and it mimics marriages in so many ways, like there's support, there's common goal and so on, as long as it's transparent, open, and the boundaries are very clear. Good luck with that.
But you make a good point there, because it's not only the boundaries of the workplace spouse if you have a spouse at home, but actually it's the boundaries of what is this? What is this in the workplace? What are we? And I think that's really important as well.
Yes, it is, especially if one has a real spouse and the other one doesn't.
That's interesting.
It could be slightly challenging for the spouse that's at home and not part of the couple.
Yes. Oh, so much to get into.
That's where I get my clients from.
You're staying with us, Madina, and we'll be back just after this.
Navigating today's workplace is tough.
Toxic employees, endless drama, a lack of motivation. We've all been there.
But fear not, we are here to help. My name is Leanne and I'm a chartered psychologist.
My name is Al and I'm a business owner, and together we dig into the scientific and commercial secrets behind great workplace cultures in Truth, Lies and Work.
A no-nonsense, award-winning psychology podcast brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network. We explore practical strategies for building a great workplace.
We debunk buzzwords and bring you the very best advice around finding and keeping great people, from personality tests.
Personality tests they're mostly bollocks. I don't know what kind of language you do on your podcast. I don't know if people know this, but the man who wrote the Wonder Woman comics is the person who invented the disc.
When more flexible working became a norm, you no longer hurt your career prospects by being the one person who worked flexibly.
All the way to avoiding high turnover.
We recruit and promote people to managerial roles based on their technical skills, not their people skills. This is a very fundamental problem we have, which we haven't directly tackled.
From toxic-free cultures,
interventions for the individual are only half the answer. Systemic change is the other half.
to sustainable growth.
Thinking beyond just paying somebody a good salary, I think is super necessary now. We have to offer so much more than that.
We have got you covered.
So join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays where we help you to simplify the science of work and build amazing workplace cultures.
Hey there, I'm Diane Forrester, host of I Have Today, where we talk about the art of intentional living. Our show is on the Fresh Takes channel on Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific. So if you're ready to be inspired, empowered, and educated and learn how to live the I Have Today way, then tune in. Hope to see you there.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We've got Madina, who's a sex therapist, in with us today. We love Madina because we get to have very, very spicy conversations. We've been talking about workplace relationships, and today's very special because we have a studio audience. And we do have a question from one of our audience members.
Yes, thanks. You talked about sort of work husbands and wives and things, but what about if your partner actually works in your department and you're having to manage them? What do you do there?
Yeah, that's a very good question, very tricky one. I personally thought it's sort of like a contract towards divorce. If one sooner or later is going to lead to divorce. Not necessarily, that was my personal opinion, but the research shows it can actually make things a lot easier for the workplace. It can make things easier for the people because they get to see the best of themselves during the things that we discussed earlier. You know, seeing each other in their best element, seeing if it's a big company, having a socialization together, and so on and so forth. So that actually can bring a couple together if they have strong communication skills. If either they have to develop it over time, or it's going to actually lead to separation and so on. So, tricky one.
No, it is. I think
in general, like family business, for example, this is what I get asked as well. How I don't specialize in this topic because I'm too pessimistic about it. But I believe it can bring a lot of bonds that you wouldn't necessarily get from any other activity.
I like that.
Really interesting.
We're going into a slightly grayer area now, a darker area.
Yeah.
I like dark areas.
We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
We do. There's the whole question of workplace affairs.
Yes.
How common are they, and how do they generally start?
Well, people report, and again, it could be under reported information. People report that 1 in 5 cheating happened with a colleague.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that's high, actually.
That is high. And Ashley Madison, the dating app. I don't want to advertise Ashley Madison. Whoever knows should know, right?
Yes,
because I didn't. Honestly, I didn't. Ashley Madison, whatever that is.
Don't look it up.
The dating website for affairs. So Ashley Madison reports that most of the affairs happen at workplace. So we don't really know because people might underreport it. They might keep it secretive for various reasons, which are understandable. But yeah, so it's real. 1 in 10 people in the UK confessed in having an affair at the workplace. So, that makes how many are there? Well, half of the...
I was going to say, and if 1 in 5 have had it, but there's 6 already.
So half of the person here would have had an affair at work.
Would you say it's the proximity of people again? Is that generally why?
Just something that we discussed earlier. It's the proximity, is the like the best version of the person that we see and that we attracted. We don't share household. We don't wash the dishes. We don't look after kids. We don't get to decide who goes to which in-laws and things like that. It makes a lot easier, to fall somebody and to have this passion, because there is also the element of secretiveness that makes it really spicy and exciting.
Yeah, oh gosh. Interesting, but not in a good way.
Well, that's where I get my clients. I am interested.
It's a good way for you.
Yeah. I welcome people with affairs.
You're brilliant.
But it's not necessarily bad. Actually, I'm just happened recently. There's a season. All of my clients come with affair inquiries. I don't know. It's spring or something. And some of them are with colleagues as well. Unplanned ones, but it happened as a one-off or as an affair. But it's not. I know it sounds. It's not because I'm a sex therapist and I get paid for it, but it also can either break or make the couple. So it can bring the couple to a new level after the breakup. Obviously, with a lot of work involved and with a lot of things to be processed. The couple, for the first time in their lives, I see couple having real conversation with each other. It takes an affair sometimes to understand what they actually need from each other and what they're actually frustrated about.
I'm going to jump in because I know you've got a question about the one-offs, but I'm just going to jump to the affair question. I do get that an affair can be that rock bottom that couples have to hit in order to get that conversation going. So would you or should you confess an affair?
Oh, that's a good question. I believe because the emotions that happen after the affair, they're so strong and so immense. It's shame, it's guilt, but it's also the excitement and joy and like confusion and so on. So it's better to share it with somebody. Now, who it's going to be is up to you. A therapist, a trusted friend, not necessarily HR. You wouldn't want to say it. And then, because there's so much, they can just tear you apart, all the sensations. It can take away your productivity as well.
Of course it can.
So I always leave it up to the clients when they come to me with a confession. Not necessarily that their spouses, their partners should know about it, as long as they make sense for themselves. It's very tricky. I always feel a bit like a devil's advocate in these cases, but the truth is, I'm not in any way supporting affairs or anything, but the truth is that this is happening, and we need to find, it's happening more and more, even though people are marrying supposedly people that they love, right? If before it was arranged marriages and you would have compassion, now it's still happening, and we're trying to find a way to go around it.
Very a difficult position for you.
As long as my rule is always, as long as you didn't break the law, you can confess in anything to me, and I promise I'm gonna keep it private without judging.
No, that makes sense.
Of course. So what if something happens, it's not an affair, but it's a one-off, say there's a work trip or a Christmas do or something like that, and something happens.
Because you're drunk, it's not even a planned, or you don't even want it to carry on from that.
Or you never saw it coming, maybe.
And maybe it is just a one-off between the two, it's just that one-off as well, that sort of situation.
Do you?
Well, good point.
As long as there's an agreement between these two people that it's a one-off, and they're able to hopefully communicate in advance, And some couples would have, some married couples would have an agreement as well. You have a right for once in a year to have a one-off thing.
Like a hall pass.
Yeah, that's
What's
true.
that? What is that called?
A hall pass.
Hall pass.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a hall. A hall pass used to be an American saying that if you wanted to go to the toilet, you got a hall pass. So if you were caught in the hall, you could say, "No, I'm allowed to be out here."
Oh,
so it's that giving you that permission.
It's kind
everybody,
of been borrowed. So you've got a hall pass tonight at your party. Just don't tell me what happens. You've got to be very understanding partner.
I mean, we do know that polyamorous the groups, the communities, they're growing every year. So it is getting real. It's not necessarily what we are surrounded with,
but it does happen.
But it does happen. Some couples would come to this place where they're okay at occasional one-off things.
And we will go into polyamorous, not in today's show, but we do want to talk to you about that because I think that is a very growing area that we do need to discuss. You have mentioned this briefly earlier, but of course sometimes there will be a breakup of that relationship or that whatever it is. How do we then navigate that within the workplace context? What if you both just can't leave? You can't leave, but it was an awful breakup.
And first thing I think which is important to understand that it can happen to anybody.
Yes.
Really, it's very often what I hear people would say, like, I never thought it would happen to us because it was so strong. Yeah, I get it. Yes, whenever we start a relationship or anything, we never think about the breakup at the end. But it happens. So understanding it's acknowledging actually that it's a difficult process for you and perhaps for your partners, for your ex as well. So one thing that I always advise is to keep other employees out from this mentoring sort of therapist position. Making very, very clear, we can figure it out, thank you, we will sort it out on ourselves. So
I think that's a really important piece of advice there.
There will always be uninvited therapists.
Everyone wants, and then it will be their own agendas because they've got a struggle with that person or something like that. You don't know that for sure, and they're not trained therapists. No. We have seen exactly that. Madina, we're keeping you with us. We'll be back just after this.
Hi there, I'm Dawn Livingston, your host on the Transcend and Succeed show. Join me Fridays at 2 p.m. Central for limitless inspiration and ways to help you transcend your limitations. Tune into the Achieve TV network and the Voyage to Vitality channel. Transcend and Succeed show, right here on A360 TV.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters Office Hours. We are having a brilliant time with Madina. We are talking about office romances. And we have a studio audience as well, so it's all very exciting. We've been talking about the workplace affair. So now I'm going to just dial it back before that. So what happens if you find yourself attracted to a co-worker because of all the things that we said earlier? That you see them in their element, it's very exciting. You have those conversations, they understand what you're going through because you're going through the similar experiences. And there are also issues in your relationship. What is the best thing to do? I mean, I guess it's going to be individuals, horses for courses, but what should we sort our own house out first?
I think it's always important to give like a realistic perspective to yourself, to bring back the realistic perspective. What I'm seeing here with this colleague is like a best version of them, not necessarily what they are in the household. So that sort of grounds you back. Sometimes these triangles are, as long as it's kept not too secretive and everything, that can be a good way to enhance relationship with your current partner.
Yes.
If you're mindful about it, if you're aware of that, if it's not some kind of a revenge that you're trying to take on your partner. See, like I can be attracted to others type of thing, then obviously it just objectifies all of the partners involved, which happens a lot. So to answer your question shortly, I would suggest obviously to address yourself, like what are my needs at the moment, because this other person definitely, if I'm attracted, there are certain needs that have been met. Is there a way that I can ask Not demand, not passive aggressive, but actually ask for, this is what I need, more support. I want to be seen. I want to feel sexy. I want you to help me with this and that. So to first think and then maybe ask, bring this up in the conversation, not in the form like, actually I have, you know what. And if you don't, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to leave you or something. But, it's exaggerated, but really taking it as an opportunity to learn something about yourself and your relationship, because we change, even in short time. We do know from research that when we are getting married and when we are getting in a committed relationship, we have certain needs in the beginning which we're trying to meet with this person, and then this need change, and because we sort of got fed with what we needed in the beginning, and then it's a good way to upgrade. Probably it's a good time to upgrade your marriage or to bring it to an end if you understood that there's no way you can meet these needs.
Yeah, that's and actually, whilst that's quite a harsh reality, I think it is important because it is a reality of life sometimes. I think that's very important to have raised. And actually something that you said on a previous show, which I thought was brilliant, was if you've got that sort of flirtation in mind, play it all the way through and see whether you're still quite as attracted to that person when you're thinking about them in the context of seeing them at home, seeing not at their best. And
I mean, ideally you would see it rationally and but when you're under the effect of this excitement and hormones and passion, it's hard to be rational about it. Oh no, forget about this. Probably sharing it with somebody who is a trustworthy person, helps to at least clear your mind out, because there's so much going on, so much brewing.
Yes, very true, very true. What about when you've got sort of unwanted interests? So what starts off as kind of you being nice to someone, or maybe a flirtation, but now it's just icky because now they're demanding and now they're there all the time and now they're expecting you to be their best friend or something like that. It's not necessarily sexual harassment, but it's just got a bit, oh gosh, why are you inviting yourself to lunch with us again, kind of thing.
It can be cultural. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Some cultures perceive it as, your no or your turning away as a sign of come and get me. Whereas in some cultures that would be very clearly understood. I'm no longer interested, thank you, we can move on from someone. Also, you might consider talking openly, I've noticed this, it's making me uncomfortable. I would like to keep it professional, please, and this is how I want this. Thank you. You're not in the position of request or something. You make it very clear. I'm uncomfortable. If this person is no longer, is not open for conversation, doesn't seem to get it, it's also interesting to take it as a chance to actually embrace your disgust or whatever that is. And really, because we think oh, I shouldn't, or that, we're trying to avoid this feeling that we have in our bodies as well. Just actually sit with this and what is it about this person that really makes me feel icky, that pushes me off? Is it the smile? Is it the way that they say it? Sometimes it can be not even about that person as well. It can be a reminder of some kind of experience and so on. And then once you shift your perspective, this person can change the behavior as well. Hopefully, if not, then you report to HR.
I really like that. That's really helpful.
Yeah,
really helpful.
Really good. And so going back to Audrey's first question, what if you're single but attracted to somebody who isn't single, but they're flirting back?
It's interesting for me always to look at the attachment style here. Why would you be attracted to somebody who is already in a relationship? They can flirt back or not, it doesn't matter. But why would you choose somebody who is distant from you and who is unavailable? Because it's not like we're putting all the responsibility on you. It could be other person could be interested in keeping this fire going for whatever reason. But also you could ask yourself, how come? And usually it's not the first time, believe me, that you would be attracted to somebody like that.
Yes, it's not the first time you've been attracted. You would be attracted to somebody who is attached.
Who is already attached, and it will make either very difficult for you to sort of win them. So why, then I would ask, why are you choosing this difficult way? You know, with so many choices. Oh no, because he's so this and that. This is bullshit. You know, there's this is your trauma speaking, not you. And so we're trying to unpack what is the trauma behind why you're choosing this safe way.
Unavailable.
To make sure that he doesn't reciprocate, or to the level that he or she doesn't reciprocate to the level that you actually need and want.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Very good point.
And what about navigating the position of power problems? So in work relationships, especially when one might be a manager, has the power to hire and fire, and they're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't.
Sorry, I'm smiling. It's not a funny topic, actually. But the first image that comes to my mind is the Secretary movie, when, you know, she found a way to navigate by actually seducing her boss and so on, just playing around and then happily getting married. Obviously, I don't recommend that. I don't think it's a good ending. It's like, oh, and once they got married, everything got resolved, and, you know.
That's one of the problems, isn't it?
Yeah. So the BDSM community try to promote it. Forget about it. So so this is what you shouldn't do, like anti-advertisement of how to deal with power imbalance, perhaps removing yourself from this imbalance, because it can happen, right? And sometimes, yes, it can be your dream job, it can be a dream atmosphere, and nevertheless, if you find yourself that it's affecting your well-being, your performance, and your overall
self-esteem.
There can be elements of abuse as well, which normally you wouldn't recognize. In workplace, it can be very, very hidden and very subtle, and it can be the abusive environment where everybody perceives it as normal, especially in legal structures. Oh my God, it's incredible how much abuse there is, and everybody acts normal, like you're getting shouted at, you work like so many hours, and it's a norm, especially if you're starting legal worker, you know, it's like, this is how it's done.
That's scary. That is so scary.
This is one of the spheres, obviously there are many more.
Oh gosh, wow.
There's so much to think about. So much. Where can we find out more about you?
You can go to my website, madinademirbas.com, but also if you just Google Madina Sex Therapist, you would see different links to different platforms that I'm registered
in. And
your
TEDx talk as well.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
We're keeping Madina to give us her top tips, and let's head over to Business Boost. So, on Business Boost, for those leaders who notice an office romance, please just be aware of your workplace policies. And you might want to start by speaking privately to the people involved. You may need to emphasize the importance of keeping things professional, you know, no personal displays of affection and so on. But generally, it might well be that people do already understand that, and they already understand that they are in a very different situation. Also remind the couple to be mindful of other colleagues who may not want to know intimate details about their co-worker. Where possible, an option can be to move one of the couple to a different department, but this mustn't affect their professional standing and their own well-being. But it might well be that they could ask that themselves, but use that with care. Always follow your policies. I will leave you with reflecting on this article in Business Leader. Rather than treating office romances as a taboo, the writer says it may be beneficial for performance, for work culture, and even employee commitment. So Margot Faraci, who's a global business coach, says, when handled the right way, workplace relationships can bring people closer and make them more engaged. And leaders may see workplace romances as a savvy investment. Offering a more legal perspective, Michelle Last at Keystone Law says that where employees' private life potentially impacts work, then theoretically an employer is able to take action. And she explains that employers are within their rights to seek a ban on workplace relationships. They are within their rights, and to require the employee to disclose the fact they're in a relationship with a colleague. But be aware that there's a very grey area. You cannot necessarily stop the relationship. You can only determine how it's dealt with in the workplace.
Our passion for coffee goes way beyond the cup. We believe in a fair production chain in which each coffee farmer plays an essential role. We are proud to support our communities and promote environmental sustainability. Bedford Coffee Roasters guarantees an exceptional experience for producers and consumers. Join us on our journey to extraordinary coffee, where quality, sustainability and fairness come together to create an experience unlike any other. Ground with passion, served with pride, Bedford Coffee Roasters, coffee worth drinking.
We've reached the final part of our show, and I'm so disappointed because this is such a great show, and we're loving having you, and we are loving having our studio audience, and we have an experience from our studio audience that they'd like to share with us.
Hi, yeah, so years ago at work, at the time my husband had left me, and a colleague of mine, he was much older, and he wasn't a permanent colleague, he was a locum. He took me to one side and he offered me his sexual services in case I was lonely and missing that part of things.
Can I just jump in? It's just sexual services. We're not talking about shoulder to...
No. He offered me sex.
Wow. Yeah, knowing your vulnerable position.
Yeah, and we worked together. It was a small team.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. This is rather a norm in many cultures. I'm afraid I had a similar experience. That sounds familiar. When I was working in Cyprus, and I just had a breakup with a guy, and I was like, "Would you like?" And then the other guy just said, "Would you like to work in my restaurant now that you're single?" And I can take care of it right the next day. Wow. And he was and he was honestly surprised that I didn't agree. Yeah, what's wrong now that you're single and you're vulnerable and you need money and you feel lonely? Like what's the problem here? He wouldn't never, whenever we came, because it's a small town, whenever we come across, he would never talk to me. He was just offended.
Oh God, so he was offended.
Yeah.
Isn't that so interesting? Because what starts out, because to me in my head I'm like, oh, that's sexual harassment straight away. I'd never have consideed this might be a norm, and you might have offended him by saying no.
Yeah. Oh, poor thing, you caused it in a therapy session because he was rejected. But I also thought about the cultural norms, the perception of women in, especially immigrant women, post-Soviet women like I am. For example, in Cyprus it was a different thing. But here as well, I would really want to look at the research that would say that some employers would target the women.
I think I was so shocked I just politely declined.
So you didn't need therapy afterwards. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, as our audience ponders that now, we are going to go over to Madina for top tips on navigating these workplace relationships.
There's so much, but I would just say always rule number one, if you see that there's an affair starting to happen, please report to HR. Don't, leave all this intrigues and everything for spy movies. Just be open and transparent. Number two, please set the boundaries very clearly with the person you're having, hopefully just a romance, not an affair. But if, that we're talking, all the flirting happens after 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., because it can, especially in certain cultures, it can make people really uncomfortable. We know that in collectivistic cultures, people are much more rigid towards workplace romance. And number three, I really mean it, don't have a relationship with your subordinate, don't have a relationship with somebody who reports to you. Leave it for the sex plays with your partner, with your whatever, but it really can impact your reputation, it can impact your career, especially for women. We know that women who engage in such affairs tend to suffer much more from reputational damage. So.
Gosh, Madina, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Every time, you learn so much, and we always come away with more questions, I think, than answers.
Yeah. The same for me. I learned so much with you as well. I like our questions and also our audience adding up today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you to our audience. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you to Madina from Judith and I. Have a healthy week.